I was just watching the Waratahs interview they did with you, and they were checking out. They've done their research, mate. Like the Bucks rugby, the England Sevens stuff. They,
Yeah.
I
Where
suppose
was that posted?
that was on Waratahs website, I think.
Oh, is it? I've not actually seen that.
Yeah. Nah, the geezer knew his stuff, mate. Like talking about Durham University. So it's obviously, I mean, you'd probably expect that from journalism, but yeah, man,
Yeah, they
they've
do their digging.
they've invested their time in you.
Yeah. I
Have
mean, yeah, they do their digging. Like for those press conferences, you get asked all sorts of questions. There's about 10 of them in the room, firing
really?
questions off from different angles. Yeah. About three cameras in your face. So, and you just come off the training field as well, so you're all a bit flustered,
Yeah.
getting asked about my degree like 4 years ago. So, no, it's all good though.
With I don't know if you've had any like media training, but it's like a bit of a narrative, right? With in professional sport, do you feel like you can really express yourself in those, or like I know the first answer to that from that interview was just like proper like robotic, just answer the question.
Yeah.
Do you feel it is a bit of pressure?
I feel like it's the thing that you become more comfortable with. I'm not at that stage yet. I think I've done like three proper interviews, like where it's been, recorded. I've done, written interviews like for newspaper and stuff. But yeah, I think my first one was Commonwealth Games. I did a interview after a match, which was on the big screen. So I could hear myself talking and see myself in the corner of the eye, and I was just making no sense. Yeah, it's just I've had no media training, but it's just a practice thing, isn't it? And the ability to like not say something stupid.
Mm.
Um, some lads are really good at it, and some boys slip up, like swearing and stuff, and then apologizing after. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just a practice thing.
I reckon more of the unfiltered, more of the swearing because it's funny, right? It's like no one wants to see
Yeah,
fully polished, like perfectly formed sentences and stuff, especially if you just play the game.
yeah, it's just this raw, isn't it? So our winger was the one who scored the winning try against England in the Autumn Nations, and after his interview after that match is hilarious. If you watch it on YouTube, he's effing and binding, and like he's so pumped up because he's obviously just scored the winning try in like the 83rd minute or whatever it was.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
unreal.
very raw.
Um, Mate, tell some of the people who might watch this conversation where you are in the world, what you've been up to, and a little bit about how you got to where you are now. Because I'm fascinated in it, mate, and I'm very grateful to know you and to be in the conversation with you.
Yeah, so I'm in Sydney, so based out in Sydney now. Um, moved here originally in Jan 2024 just to play club rugby after being released from sevens full time. So I was released from sevens the year before after having a pretty unlucky season with injury, and then managed to get fit for the end of the season, but just wasn't up to the pace really. 9 months out. So yeah, wasn't up to the pace for the end of the season. So got released. Moved here for a change of scenery. And then yeah, played a season of club rugby with Easts. Um, moved back home in September to try and get back in with sevens. I was on pre-season trial there, and then after a week of that, got a phone call from Waratahs, Sydney franchise Super Rugby, to come back here for a pre-season trial here as well. So I thought, why not, go for it, make the lunge. So moved back here. I was only home for 6 weeks. Moved back here. Did that preseason trial from November to January, and then fortunately got offered a full-time gig. So signed that full-time gig in January, just before Christmas, actually. And then yeah, now just in season. I think we're round 6 this weekend or round 7 this weekend. So I've been playing, coming off the bench. Made my debut in round 1, which was pretty special. And then yeah, I've been coming off the bench the last few rounds, getting some decent minutes. So yeah, just really enjoying it, to be honest. Dream come true.
What are you enjoying the most at the moment?
Um, I mean, it's obviously an amazing part of the world to live in. And just yeah, the environment, like the high performance environment, involve like having that as well as being in such a cool part of the world. It's yeah, probably my favorite thing.
Yeah, it's a bit different walking around Battersea Park compared to getting in the city.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I came back in September, I was doing some running on just the excuse me, just the pitch in Battersea Park, which is like a complete dog park. Now, yeah, being able to come out here and just be training at the high performance center and playing at the stadium, like yeah, worlds apart. Obviously, very cool.
No, that's awesome, man. I want to. I've known you, and when I think of you, I think of the injuries you've had, and like, oh, is Jamie back yet? Hitting it for my brother, and there was a back, right? You had your back for a
Mm.
little while,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then your groin, mate. Like, as someone who knows injuries and periods,
yeah. But you know a lot more than anyone, yeah.
I'm really interested to know, mate. Like, I'm a big probably your situation now. You're thriving in that, but probably because of a lot of that, like having to be patient and I want to hear like when you look back at those injuries, what you learn, how do you feel towards them now, and yeah, like how it kind of shaped you. Seems like a really podcasty question. I don't want it to feel like that.
Yeah,
I'm just interested,
yeah.
like when you look back, how does it make you feel with all the time out and like frustration?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the groin one was probably the major one because that was quite a pivotal point in my career.
Mm.
Um yeah, it was kind of a long-winded injury that I was playing with week in, week out. And then finally took the time off, to let it heal. Which ended up being a lot longer than expected. It was meant to be a 12-week return to play, which turned into 9 months, meaning I missed a whole season, pretty much a whole season. So that was obviously pretty difficult not having a set return date. It wasn't an arbitrary, return to play like an ACL. Like it was very much an unknown. Um, so yeah, that was probably a lot of learning there. Was chucked in the deep end with that one. Hadn't really had something like that beforehand. Especially whilst I was in a full-time environment.
Mm.
Being having to, when if I was injured at university, like I remember I broke my jaw. Yeah, you're missing out on the rugby, but then you still crack on. You're still a student. You still crack on with uni every day.
Mm.
Whereas being injured, like when you're solely a rugby player, is like your sole purpose at work is then taken away from you. Um, so yeah, I kind of had to have a bit of a change in perspective on that. And yeah, by the end of it, I was probably, real frustrated and stuff. And that was probably reflected in how I was playing after I got back playing. Yeah, and after I recovered. When I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like where I was at as soon like right before I got injured and stopped playing. I assumed I'd just be straight back to that level. And
Mm.
then it was probably like it took me like 3 months after, not playing well and then, having my contract not being renewed to actually realize, I wasn't in a place to get re-signed. Like I wasn't performing at the level that I should have been. Um, and that's obviously natural after having such a long period of time out.
Do, do
So
you
yeah, it
think
was obviously difficult to deal with, but
do you think you weren't at a level or you just weren't in a position to get a contract from that team? Do you know what I mean? Because obviously there's not many contracts. That would
yeah, I mean, it's pretty cutthroat. It's one team. There's 16 contracts up for grabs, and yeah, I wasn't in that top 16 of performers, to be honest. Like I wasn't in form, so yeah,
yeah. And mate, I know you love your whoop and you love looking after your body. And I know
yeah,
that's been a big part of you like understanding your body more, right? How's that journey been? I know a lot of people who use Whoop, me included, have used Whoop, and it be almost like your relationship with the data. How's that journey been for you? How do you use?
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I love data, I love numbers, like around that performance and stuff. But fuck, yeah, let me go get a drink, mate. My throat's
Yeah,
fucking
you go, mate.
clogged up. 2 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. So with Whoop, I love like data and the numbers like around performance and stuff because yeah, I mean, it's something to lean on, isn't it? Like to
Mm.
just reinforce all your good habits and then obviously highlight your bad habits. I think I'm probably coming to the end of my time with Whoop though now. I've had it for 2.5 years. I kind of know what works for me from it, and I've changed the things in my control that I can change. it was great when I was injured, when I was rehabbing every day, because
Yeah.
you could see like the long-term trends of you getting back to full fitness. Um, but when you're in the full-time environment training now, like if it's told me I've got a 11.7 strain limit for the day, but I have a double training day, like I've got to train. Like I can't go in and be like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Whoop says I need to rest, so I need to rest. So yeah, when like your training's out of your control in that sense, it's not as useful. But yeah, I mean, helps you stay on top of your recovery as much as you can.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think yeah, over the past 2 years it's been good and it's helped me like know what works for my body and what doesn't. But I don't think now there's anything else I can necessarily change that this is gonna, tell me to um going forward. So yeah, I'll probably knock the subscription on the head because it is pretty expensive.
Yeah, yeah. And in those 2.5 years, is there anything that you have, like, is there any notable changes to any lifestyle habits or bedtime routine or anything like that that you can think of?
Yeah, bedtime routine. Bedtime routine would be the biggest one.
Yeah.
Sleep, just highlighting the importance. Obviously, everyone, sleep's good for you, but just really highlighting the importance of sleeping and and napping during the day, like best form of recovery, going for a nap.
Mm.
And when you're lucky enough to have the time to, um, then yeah, it's just things around that, getting in sleep whenever you can. Um, get your hours up because it's the best form of recovery.
Yeah. What's your resting heart rate at the moment? Well, you don't.
Uh, Mine, I'm about 34, 35, so I'm pretty low.
And was that when was I remember hearing your low was just a joke.
Yeah, I've hit like a 32 before. Some points in the night, my heart rate will go down to like 28, so it'll be like less than a beat every 2 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, HRV's like 210, pretty high. So,
Yeah.
but they're pretty, obviously very individualized. Like some people are just
Sure. Sure.
like that. So you kind of got to compare it to yourself rather than yourself over time rather than compare it to other people's numbers.
No, of course. Of course. It's just cool, isn't it? Lowest number.
Yeah, yeah, like a lizard.
Um, Mate, talk to me about Shoot Shield transition. You transitioned from England Sevens to Shoot Shield after your groin injury, right? When you didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
signed. Um, we know Max had been over there, and obviously we both know loads of people who have been
yeah.
there and hearing experiences for them. Mate, how was it? How was it? Like, yeah, I want to hear everything about it. To be honest, like, what did you enjoy? What did you
Uh,
deal with?
I oh, it was a massive, like obviously a massive change of scenery for me. Um, yeah, I remember I got there for pre-season. Our first pre-season session was just on like a public park. There was no pitch, no posts, lines, nothing. They just rented the public park, like this area on it, and we had cones out and we were doing drills. And that was going to be pre-season for the next 2 months. And I remember thinking, like, what the fuck have I got myself in for here? Like, obviously going, like, not saying I was too good for it or anything like that, but you just like go from the last tournament I played was at Twickenham, and then the next time I was training was like in on a park up on top of a hill,
Just like back
which
from
was
it,
crazy.
close to your roots.
Yeah, literally. Like it was flashbacks to like yeah uni days and stuff. And then yeah, once the season started, we started training actually at the club, like on our pitch. And yeah, it was the start of the season. I mean, you'll know, you've obviously seen it. The start of the season's a bit chaos. Like the standard it's not a bad standard, but it is just chaos rugby. Like every game's 40 points either side. Like it's crazy. So
Mm.
I again was kind of thinking like this is mad, but it was definitely good for me. I hadn't played 15s for 2 years, so I was rusty as anything. Making some pretty stupid mistakes and things. So it was a good it was a good intro for me, a good level for me to play at. And then as the season goes on, the standard goes up massively, especially when Super Rugby finishes and the players who are at Super Rugby franchises come back to their club. It's like that round 11, round 12 mark. Then the
Mm.
standard just jumps up because the caliber of players playing is obviously a lot better. So yeah, and then yeah, we had a pretty successful season. So went on to win the thing for East. for the first time. They'd won it in 55 years, which was, yeah, I mean, it was pretty special. You know, had grown men in the clubhouse like crying, thanking us, saying like they'd obviously been supporting since they were kids and stuff like that. And I'd only been there for 6 months, so it was, you know, I didn't know any different. Yeah, no, it was a cool experience, and yeah, really enjoyed the rugby. Like just the brand of rugby they play, like it's a lot looser, a lot more open, which obviously suited me a bit more coming from sevens. Didn't have that, didn't need to be, you know, like 110 kilo back row. Like I think I was playing at 95, 96 kilos. And you know, throwing my weight around. So it was all right. It was a good stepping stone, definitely, for now, obviously playing super.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, going from England Rugby's to Shoot Shield would seem like a downgrade, but mate, I know because I've experienced it. When you go from that kind of high performing, sometimes pressurized, overwhelming environment to Shoot Shield, and it's like you say, training at the park, like mindset wise, mate, obviously a couple of times you experience like what the fuck's going on, like
Yeah.
where's the drinks, where's the like um all those things that make your life easier the higher level you go. Yeah, man, what did you learn from that? Again, it's probably you experience your current situation to an even sort of greater gratitude and perspective now. I'm interested playing with freedom and especially going from sevens to a looser style of rugby. How was that?
Yeah, it was definitely, it was different. I wouldn't say it was a step down, but it was very different because it's at the end of
No,
the day, it's
sure.
club rugby and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
part time. You know, boys are working 9 till 5 during the week and then training an evening, playing at the weekend. The physios are not volunteering, but they're there for 1 day a week. So yeah, it's you know, it's club rugby like at the heart of it. But yeah, it was for me, it was a massive weight off my shoulders, to be honest. Like I think I put so much pressure on myself in those 9 months that I was injured to get back because obviously I knew my contract was up. And I had two tournaments to basically prove myself to get re-signed. Otherwise, I was losing my job. And those two tournaments were in the space of 2 weeks. So I was like, these next 2 weeks are basically going to decide my next 12 months or like the rest of my sevens career, basically.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I put an enormous amount of pressure on myself then. And then that reflected pretty negatively in how I was performing. So then coming out to shoot shield, like there was no expectation of nobody had a clue who I was. Like boys said, oh, like he's played a bit of sevens. I'd only played sevens for 2 years. Like I wasn't a World Series stalwart. Like the coaches didn't know who I was. Like I'd sent some clips, but it was kind of like, all right, yeah, nice one. Like this is 15s, it's not sevens. Just crack on. So yeah, not having like any sort of external expectation on me was so nice. Like I think that took away from me putting so much expectation on myself, like
Mm.
internally. So I remember our first trial game, we had I was in second grade. Well, we had two semi-mixed teams out, but it was clear what was first grade and what was second grade. I was in the second grade team, which I was fine with, you know, my first hit out in 2 years. We went out there and yeah, we won our game and like played all right, like had a decent run, few good touches, made some stupid mistakes, but like just really enjoyed it. Um, really enjoyed being back in 15s. And like actually like backed myself a little bit, which was nice because I know I didn't have that pressure there. There was no one expecting some sort of performance from me, so I could just go out on there and it was a blank canvas basically for me to play. And then yeah, it did. I ended up playing. Yeah, I played pretty well and actually managed to string some performances together like over the next few rounds and whatever. So going into the season and yeah, put in a decent season.
And the people you're playing with and around, uh, I suppose, different kind of professionals in their own way. How did you find that working with people who, yeah, probably are not going to be as committed as you are with your recovery and the way you look after your body and the prep you kind of do? How did you find that?
Yeah, I think it was yeah, it's funny seeing like how different boys went about their business because you know everyone's got different jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
My for me, I moved out here to play shoot shield. I didn't move out here to work in an off like to work in an office 9 till 5 and then play rugby on the side. Like I was whatever job I was getting, I was doing that just to support myself whilst I was enjoying the rugby basically. So that's obviously very different to the Aussie lads who like live here, are from Sydney, live in Sydney, and their job is their livelihood, and then they just play rugby on the weekend because they enjoy it. So yeah, I'd always made sure I had time in my day to obviously go to the gym and recover after games and things like that. Whereas, other lads who are working 8 till 6 and getting straight to training, like they've got no time to gym, or they might get 2 gym sessions in a week, or they've like working on. We had one of our props was he'd work night shifts on a Friday night in the tunnels, get home at about 5 a.m., 6 a.m., sleep till 12, come play, and then he run back in the sheds, put his high vis back on, and go straight back to work for a 6 o'clock start to do another night shift, which was crazy. So yeah, obviously very, very different, but yeah, it's you're all playing the same level. So it's just finding what works for you, I guess. But yeah, it was pretty mad seeing boys do that, like working weekends, working Sunday mornings after we played like 80 minutes on the Saturday. I was just in full like recovery mode, trying to be a professional athlete in an amateur environment, basically. Um, just because I didn't want to change any habits.
Yeah. It's incredible to see the enthusiasm from someone who's got fingers in pies because they have to earn a living, that still come and like put their body on a line for the team
Mad.
compared to
Yeah.
lads who are there for a single purpose. I think that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's yeah, stark contrast. They are the lads that are doing it like because they genuinely love it. Like
Mm,
they,
yeah.
and that is cool to be around because yeah, I hadn't been around that for a while. Like obviously all the boys in sevens, they genuinely love it, but you've been in professional environments, like boys do love it, but it's a job. It is a job at the end of the day, it's a business. So sometimes like you can lose sight of that.
Mm,
Um, whereas when you never lose sight of that in a club environment because like if you don't enjoy it, like people you don't turn up
yeah, 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 man. If you if you could only play for free, where would you play?
here.
Would you
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
Waratahs?
just like uh any club. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's such a cool place to live. Like,
Mm,
I absolutely love living here. Like, it's unreal. Um, so yeah, probably. I mean, I haven't played in like south of France and stuff, so I don't know.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't really comment on what that's like. But if I could play for free here or playing for free in England, I'd rather play for free here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I was pretty much doing last year. Like, you get match fees, but you know what the match fees are like in Shoot Shield. Like, it covers your beers for the evening, and that's it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. But that's why I asked, mate, because I know there's that narrative around it being a job, right? And um, something changes internally, right? When you go from playing schoolboy or even playing university to when you're in a contract. There's so
yeah,
many like assumptions, or I need to act like this way, or I need to show up like this. And I just think that a lot of those things you learn as a professional are actually not very useful. So that's why, like, I think Shoot Shield, mate, is an experience. It's like absolute golden because you see boys working night shifts and he still fucking puts in a shift on a Saturday.
yeah.
Like, you can't tell me that, he needs to sleep like this and do all this because, okay, performance aside, but the way he's showing up, because he fucking loves it, not for any other.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it is, yeah. Sometimes it's easy to like drift away from that when it becomes a job.
Yes.
Um, I mean, sevens was a little bit different because there's not a lot of money in sevens. Like you get paid,
Yeah.
peanuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me now, like I've definitely like how everyone talks about their why and yeah, like why you play, why you turn up every day and things like that. I think for a while, probably like you forgotten that you turn up because like you used to love it, like especially when you were like a little kid, like you used to love it. And it sounds very cliche, but it's true. Like so many boys will say they're playing for their 8-year-old version of themselves, like who turned up every Saturday because they loved it. And you shouldn't lose touch for that just because it's a job.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I'm definitely a lot more aware of that now than probably in previous years.
Yeah,
Because it's
sure.
easy to have a bitch and a moan when things aren't going well and stuff when it's your job. But it's you got to remember you're in a very fortunate position, and you're in a position that a lot of people would would love would could only dream of being in. So
Mm.
um, definitely don't take it for granted, especially living also doing it and living somewhere like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've had to learn a hell of a lot, and with being in an environment, an elite high performance environment, how have you shown up? How have you found being a student, being like a beginner in a way, in a new team, like with any team, right? But how have you found that? How have you found maybe getting a couple of things wrong and being with that?
I definitely find like a lot better with dealing with getting things wrong now than I probably was at like 20, 21, 22,
Yeah.
23 even. Like I remember a conversation I had with fuck, when was it? It was the last leg of the World Series in 2022 with England. And I sat down after day one. I'd had a terrible day one, played terribly. And was thinking, fuck, like this was when our contracts were up as well back then, when we were getting re-signed for GB. And I sat down with Tom Mitchell and asked him, obviously, 90 odd tournaments for England, world class player. And I said to him, how do I bounce back from a terrible day one like this and play well on day two? And said it's easy for you to because if you make all these mistakes, but you've got a 9-year sevens career behind you that completely outweighs all those mistakes. And he kind of just like laughed at me as if he was like, "Do you think when I make a mistake on the pitch, I go, oh, that's all right. I've played well for the last 10 years, so that mistake doesn't matter, you know?" Um, I was like, oh, when you put it like that, yeah, it does sound a bit ridiculous. But he was just like, yeah, you just like it's happened. It's in the past now, so you just need to move on, and how you respond to it is like, so important. And just get on with your business because thinking about what you did 5 minutes ago isn't going to help you with the task that you're on now. So
Mm.
um, I was kind of like, yeah, that is fair enough. Like making one mistake doesn't make you a terrible player, but just like doing one thing great doesn't make you a great player. Like, Max always used to say, it's nothing's ever as good or as bad as you think it is.
Mm.
Which I think is like, yeah, important to remember in those scenarios.
Yeah, awesome. And mate, the style of play, you said in that interview, like it's fast, right? Even when you're sat on the bench, you're like, yeah, it's fast. Um, Style of play, new coaches, adapting to um those things. How's that been?
Yeah, they were great. Coaches were great. Like so much patience, so much patience with me, but like so much patience with all the boys because they were completely like implementing a new system. Um, so it was kind of like it was new for everyone. That was there on day one of preseason. So yeah, they were all real helpful and like any questions, like obviously way better off just getting it wrong and asking questions than just like going inside your shell, pretending you know what's going on, and then because that'll only work for so long, and then obviously you'll get exposed when you don't know your shit. So yeah, no, the coaches were great, and all the boys as well. Like it's a good group of players, and obviously got world class players around you as well, which is pretty surreal. But at the start of preseason, none of the Wallabies boys were in. So they were all in there for the autumn nations. So they were all over in the UK. So that was kind of like it made it a little bit less daunting for me to go into that environment because
Mm.
like the top dogs weren't in there. So it was kind of a good stepping stone to go in, get to know the boys. Obviously, you knew a few boys from Easts and Shoot Shield, get around the system, and then when all those boys get back in January, they had to learn all the new system, and they only had 3 weeks to do it. So kind of like, yeah, you built up a bit of confidence for the lads that had been there for the past 8 weeks, that they were on top of it, for when the internationals get back, and then training ramps up another level, and then obviously round one, the yeah, it's like, yeah, obviously highest standard that I've played, so it was a big step up, but having a 3 month preseason behind you was have a bit of confidence in your performance.
Yeah. Are you want to chuck a hand up or share in a team meeting?
Obviously at the start, no. At the start, very much no. Kept quiet, but yeah, I'd probably say I speak my fair share.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I'll also shout some things out that aren't right at all, aren't what what the coach is looking for,
yeah,
and kind of just put your head down and hope nobody notices. But yeah, and I'd say I'd speak up. Most of the boys do, to be honest. And if you don't, you get picked on anyway. So
yeah,
you
yeah,
have to find your voice.
yeah, yeah. But regardless if it's right or wrong, like it's important that you've shared. I'm like, I think I do. I know that everyone's got like a great rugby brain in them. Like often that people don't share
Yeah,
it, and it's um, like in my career, man, like I was forced, or not forced, no, definitely not forced. I was always encouraged to be this general, right, as a 10, as a leader.
yeah,
And I just I wouldn't share ideas for that fear of getting it wrong all the way through. So I think that yeah, man, it's like, well, what if your idea helps the team? You know, and that's perspective, like you spoke about quite a lot in this call, like the perspective you can have of your contribution that can be quite powerful.
yeah. I mean, how many times? Like, I was thinking this myself. How many times have you sat there in a team meeting? Coach ask a question, answer comes straight into your head, and you sat there and you're like, oh, but then you start second guessing yourself, and then somebody else says exactly what you're thinking, and they're the man, they're the smart. Everyone's like, yeah, no, that's exactly it, and you're thinking like, why didn't I just fucking say what was on my mind, you know? Like, why
Yeah,
didn't I just say what came into my head? Like, yeah, it's in there. So
yeah. Yeah, man. I've been doing a bit of study on a guy called Chris Doris at the moment, and he's like the all-in state. Like there's all in, and then there's anything else other, and that's quite a cool mantra that I've been using at the moment. And I've been using with a few clients. Like playing all in is like as soon as that signal comes up, like say it if it's aligned with what you want to do.
yeah,
That's quite fun.
yeah, of course. I mean, you're gonna get it wrong sometimes, and like,
Yeah.
but that's life, in it. Everyone does.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um, One thing I've got down, mate, is a theme for me that I'm exploring is like switching off and getting away from rugby. Is that something that you actively work on? Obviously, probably easier when you get in a fair bit of sun and being and having the sand in between your toes. Is that something you actively worked on? You find it easier being there in Sydney because you enjoy the environment outside of the club?
yeah, yeah. I think it was like at the start, I wasn't because I had so much to learn. Um, yeah, whereas now, like I'm a bit more, comfortable in the environment,
Mm.
and like I've played a bit now, I can get home and switch off in the evening. Um, Switch off on a weekend or even like your off day, like on a Wednesday, like go to the beach or go play paddle with the boys. Yeah, it makes it, and it is like it is valuable. And you probably, I don't know, you probably when you were younger, like you don't see the value in it. Like when you're 21, 22, and you want to be the best, like
Mm.
you're like, I'm wasting opportunity here to get better. Um, Whereas now, like, yeah, become a bit more, yeah, realizing now that balance is important, and it means you can, yeah, be give 100% in the times where you're in, rather than giving, like, if you've constantly got someone in the back of your mind or on your off days and you're like still 20-30% there, then on the days that you're actually in, you're only at like that is like 70-80%. Whereas if
Yeah,
I can completely get away from it when you next time you're in, then you can be completely there. Yeah, which is it's been able to do that a lot more recently now that I'm comfortable in the environment and not trying to just learn everything like crash course of 15s like it was back in November.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned paddle. Are you a coffee snob, man? What else? Obviously, beach is going to take up a lot of your time. Are you reading when you're on the beach? Like, what are you doing? Observing?
Uh, yeah, observing. Check, keep my head down actually. Um, no, just chilling to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, just chilling. Always go down there with like mates.
Mm.
Go for solo swims as well if none of the boys are around, because that's another thing. Like when your day off's like a Wednesday and all your mates outside of rugby have normal jobs, like you end up doing things with your mates that you play rugby with. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
sometimes it's nice to just do things on your own, you know, because then you can actually get away from it.
yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, you're seeing each other 7 days a week. Like it can be a bit much sometimes.
Mm. Yeah, the solitude's important, right? So you got some mates now from like from the UK or from Shoot Shield. You've got a mix because you've been in and around Sydney for a fair while now, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I got a good mix. So I live with two Kiwi boys who, I mean, they don't play at East, but got introduced to that with them through lads that play at East.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I get home, it's not like rugby, rugby, rugby. Like I don't live with boys that I train with, so that's like a nice, like, you know, to keep it separate. Then obviously got the lads at East that I know well, and then yeah, the Waratahs boys as well. So
Are you in the same gaff that you were in before you moved back? Or was it a new one?
no, I'm not because I got out of I paid to get out of my tenancy.
Yeah.
We paid our like early release clause, so it's yeah, which was so annoying because I ended up back here in 6 weeks' time. So it's just like typical, isn't it? Sold all your furniture, pay like it was like
Yeah.
$1,200, like
Yeah.
600 quid.
Mm.
And then 6 weeks back, I was back and didn't have anywhere to live. It was just yeah. No, I'm in somewhere different now. I'm in the same flat that my roommate from London was in when he was here two
No
years
way.
ago. I'm
No
in the
way.
same room, yeah, like same mattress, everything, which is so weird. Um, yeah, he did the whole shoot shield east, and then we moved to London together, and then I went out the following January,
Yeah.
and then moved into this moved into this place this January. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and in his room, so full circle.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I love hearing about what people are getting to outside of rugby. It's probably I'm not sure if it's talked about enough. And like, but like outside the kind of I'll go for coffees, have a bit of a sap, right? Which is
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which doesn't, to be fair, doesn't actually happen here. Like,
Mm.
lads, I mean, it's because it's a bit different to play in the UK. Like,
Yeah.
it's not easy. It's not as easy to sap here. Like,
Yeah, it's
the
harder to
sap
sap.
every once in a while is obviously fun, but yeah, it's hard to sap here. Like, it's yeah.
Yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of the boys do some pretty cool things. Like lads work outside of not work like properly, but lads will do like 1 day a week in a company.
Yeah.
Um, like here and you know, one of the boys who's injured at the minute, he wants to go into construction when he finishes playing. So he does all his rehab in the morning, then he goes to work in the afternoon.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
just gives him something else to think about, I guess, than just being like in the all-encompassing rehab state.
Yeah. 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 We both know what that's like.
Yeah, very consuming.
Mate, there was a video of you before your debut that got put up of you in the dojo hall getting smashed. How's being the Englishman and the culture? You've experienced it for a while now, but yeah, I'd like to compare notes on that because I think that's a really interesting experience to have been yeah, not with UK people.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot easier than going somewhere that, like, going to France like you did, where they speak a completely different language.
Mm.
Obviously, like the culture here is pretty similar. Um, so yeah, it's been pretty seamless on that front, to be honest with you. It's not like going to play Japan or France or
Mm.
somewhere where they speak the culture is genuinely different. So that's been pretty easy. But I think, I mean, there isn't many. I can only think of one other English player in Super Rugby at the minute. I don't know if I mean I know there's been a couple over the last few years, but I think there's myself and then I want to say one of the second rows at Moana Pacifica is English. I can't think of
Savage.
anyone else who is.
Tom Savage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else who is English because yeah, it's just not really a done thing, I guess.
Mm.
Lads tend to go the other way, obviously money wise in the Prem and in France, but
Mm.
so yeah, that's probably the tagline that gets used by the commentators whenever I do anything. It's always the Englishman, which obviously you wouldn't get back home because
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's in the same boat. But
Yeah. Yeah. And any Englishman chat from the team, or has it been quite tame? How's that been?
Uh, Not yeah, no, I get a bit. I get a bit, yeah. More just like for the accent. But like I used to get that in sevens as well, like from the southern lads. So it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same, you know. Like you tend to realize the chat in any rugby environment is the same wherever you go. It's always like accents, who's got thin hair or going bald, like it's all that kind of chat. So yeah,
Yeah, the Northerners representing me. It's good.
yeah, literally.
Cool,
Yeah.
mate. Mate, what's coming up for you over the next obviously you're in season now, but yeah, man, what's the goal? What do you want to happen over the next couple of years for you?
Um I'd be keen to stay out here. At least for another season, you know, like I don't feel I think yeah, I'd like to establish myself a bit more in within the squad. Like obviously been this is my rookie year, been a new player. So would like to, you know, give a bit more in that sense. And not just be that bloke who kind of hops around hops around teams and countries and whatever. So yeah, it would have to be would be good to settle here for the next year or so. And then maybe even long term, to be honest, I could see myself living here.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, like living here permanently. So just yeah, I mean, it just depends on where the opportunities take me, I guess. Whether there's an opportunity to stay on at Waratahs, or if not, then where else I could, you know, end up and just try and string out the professional rugby career as long as possible, put off real life. So yeah, for this year, like just yeah, keep you know stay in that match day 23, and then make finals, I guess, with the boys. Which would be pretty cool. I know after bouncing back, Waratahs had a terrible season last year. Um, so yeah, would be cool to do that. And also like probably something they don't realize in the UK, but like rugby everywhere is obviously struggling. But rugby in Australia kind of feels like it's on and up,
Mm.
which is exciting because you know they've got the Lions this year, then they've got the World Cup. Um, coming as well. So it's like it feels like there's a good buzz around rugby here, which is pretty exciting to you know be involved with. They're getting bigger crowds to the home games than they've had in the past few years. I think attendance across the whole of Super Rugby's been up massively. Viewing on TV's been up by like 30-40%. So yeah, it's just cool to be involved in you know that kind of the growing stage of rugby again, I guess.
Awesome, mate. Exciting.
Yeah, very.
Um,
Very. Just need to stick at it, I guess. Keep hold of my job.
yeah. Anything else you want to mention, Jay? That's it for me.
No, I think yeah, good conversation. Covered all bases there, I guess.
Yeah, man. Enjoyed that. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it, mate. Cheers.